So today is the appearance day of Sita Devi, the eternal consort of Sri Lord Ramchandra. So we're reading from the 9th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 10, entitled The Pastimes of Lord Ramchandra. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Text number 1. Shukadeva Goswami said, the son of Maharaj Katvanga was Dhiraghabahu, and his son was the celebrated Maharaj Raghu. From Maharaj Raghu came Aja, and from Aja was born the great personality, Maharaj Dasaratha. Being prayed for by the demigods, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Absolute Truth himself, directly appeared with his expansion and expansions of the expansion. Their holy names were Ram, Lakshman, Bharat, and Shatrughna. These celebrated incarnations thus appeared in the 4 forms of the sons of Maharaj Dasarath. Purport. Lord Ramchandra and his brothers, Lakshman, Bharat, and Shatrughna, are all Vishnu Tattva, not Jiva Tattva. The Supreme Personality of Godhead expands into many, many forms. Advaitam, Achyutam, Anadim, Anantarupam. Although they are one and the same, Vishnu Tattva has many forms and incarnations, as confirmed in the Brahma Samhita, chapter 5, text 39. Ramadi Murteshu Nala Kala Niyamena Tishtam. The Lord is situated in many forms, such as Ram, Lakshman, and Bharat, and Shatrughna, and these forms may exist in any part of his creation. Although these forms exist permanently, eternally, as individual personalities of Godhead, and they resemble many candles, all equally powerful, Lord Ramchandra, Lakshman, Bharat, and Shatrughna, who, being Vishnu Tattva, are all equally powerful, became the sons of Maharaj Dasarath in response to the prayers by the demigods. So we see that this is the regular way the Lord many times appears. Just like when Krishna appeared, first the demigods went to Lord Brahma, and then Lord Brahma went to the Sweta Dweep, the ocean of milk, and prayed for the Lord to appear. So here we see the same thing. There was a great harassment by Ravan, who caused many difficulties, and the demigods prayed for the appearance of the Lord, and so they appeared. Some people think that Lord Ramchandra, Lakshman, Bharat, Shatrughna are ordinary human beings. Or some people think that they never exist at all, but it was just a story that somebody fashioned, right? But that's not the case. Not only they're not ordinary human beings, but they're the Supreme Personality of Godhead, all incarnations of Lord Vishnu. However, we learn also that Lord Krishna is known as the Swayam Rupa. Some people think that Lord Krishna is also one of the incarnations of Vishnu. But we understand from Srimad Bhagavatam that is not the fact. Lord Krishna is the Swayam Rupa, the original personality. Prabhupada gives the example here about a candle. If you have a candle that is lit, it can light many candles, hundreds and thousands of candles from that one candle. And all of the candles will have the same power of light, the same power of heat. But that one original candle, that is the source of all the other candles. In the same way, Lord Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam, from which all the other incarnations are coming. The Lord appears for purposes. He has different aspects of his personality that he wants to display when he comes in different forms. When the Lord appeared as Lord Nrsimhadev, in a few days we'll be celebrating Nrsimha Chaturdasi. So the Lord wanted to display how he can become angry. Right? Everybody becomes angry sometime. Right? So where does that come from? It comes from the Lord, because he also sometimes becomes angry. Right? We're minute samples, right, of the Lord. But the Lord's anger is different from our anger. And when he appeared as Lord Nrsimhadev, he was very angry. So the Lord comes as Lord Ramchandra. For what does he want to display? Which one of his qualities is he displaying as Lord Ramchandra? Fame. Fame. Who could be more famous than Lord Ramchandra? So famous. So many millions of years ago, but yet we're still celebrating Lord Ramchandra's appearance day, Sita Devi, his eternal consort's appearance day. Right? And it's not confined here. Even if you go to Thailand, all the kings, they have along with their name Rama. In Indonesia, the national dance is based on the Ramayana. Right? And like that, because Lord Ramchandra is so famous, very, very famous. About 20 years ago, in the Japanese, in Japan, they made an animated movie about Lord Ramchandra, right? The pastimes of Lord Ramchandra in Japan. So who can be more famous than Lord Ramchandra? So famous. So the Lord comes for different reasons, to display different qualities. And from Lord Ramchandra's pastimes, we can learn many things. O King, preach it. The transcendental activities of Lord Ramchandra have been described by great saintly persons who have seen the truth. Because you have heard again and again about Lord Ramchandra, the husband of Mother Sita, I shall describe these activities only in brief. Please listen. Modern Rakshasas, posing as educationally advanced merely because they have doctorates, have tried to prove that Lord Ramchandra is not the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but an ordinary person. But those who are learned and spiritually advanced will never accept such notions. They will accept the descriptions of Lord Ramchandra and his activities only as presented by Tattvadarshis, those who know the truth. In Bhagavad-gita, the Supreme Personality of Godhead advises, Tadvidhi pranipatena puriprashnena sevaya ubadikshanti te jnanam Jnaninas tattvadarshanaha. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master, inquire from him submissively, and render service unto him. The self-realized soul can impart knowledge unto you because he has seen the truth. Unless one is tattvadarshi, in complete knowledge of the absolute truth, one cannot describe the activities of the personality of Godhead. Therefore, although there are many so-called Ramayana, or histories of Lord Ramchandra's activities, some of them are not actually authoritative. Sometimes Lord Ramchandra's activities are described in terms of one's own imaginations, speculations, or material sentiments. But the characteristic of Lord Ramchandra should not be handled as something imaginary. While describing the history of Lord Ramchandra, Shukadeva Goswami told Maharaj Parikshit, "You have already heard about the activities of Lord Ramchandra." Apparently, therefore, 5,000 years ago, there were many Ramayanas, or histories of Lord Ramchandra's activities, and there are many still. But we must select only those books written by Tattvadarshis, Jnaninas Tattvadarshanaha, not the books of so-called scholars who claim knowledge only on the basis of a doctorate. This is a warning by Shukadeva Goswami. Rishivish Tattvadarshivi. Although the Ramayana composed by Valmiki is a huge literature, the same activities are summarized here by Shukadeva Goswami in a few verses. This is going on even today. Hundreds of years ago, saintly persons would give their own version of the Ramayana. But now there are books by authors who have completely speculated about the pastimes of Lord Ramchandra, and those books are very popular. They sell in the market like anything. So they want to pose Lord Ramchandra as an ordinary human being. This is their idea. Srila Prabhupada calls them Rakshasas, big demons, modern demons. Actually small demons, not big demons. Big demon is Ravan. They're small timers, small time demons. But they confuse the people. They confuse the people. Even the other persons from other religions who don't believe in Lord Ramchandra at all, they make up books about Lord Ramchandra or Mahabharata, and they try to sell them in the market and put their own ideas. In other religions, they don't understand about the eternal nature of the soul, and they confuse people. Their concept is that they are a body and they have a soul. You ask them. They believe in a soul, but they think they're the body, and by chance they have a soul. Right? But we understand just the opposite, that we are a soul, and by chance we have this body. Not by chance, but by the nature. Daivanitrena, we have some particular type of body. So they're confused. And they want to spread their confused understanding of the absolute truth by packaging it as something to do with Lord Ramchandra's pastimes. So this is a great travesty, and we therefore we have to give that real knowledge, the actual pure, unadulterated thing to the people at large. Otherwise, they'll be confused by all these modern Rakshasas. Rakshasa means, a man-eater, right? So why are they Rakshasas? Because they're giving this false knowledge, and therefore people are ruining their chance in this human form of life to become elevated, to actually understand what is the goal of life and go back to Godhead, right? If I ruin your chance at to be successful that is a very bad thing. Right? In the same way, this human form of life is a chance to become successful. Successful means to go back to the spiritual world. That's what it means to be successful. They have their own, the karmis have their interpretation of what is successful. The impersonalists have their conception of what is successful. And the yogis, they also have their conception of what is successful. The karmis, they think success means they have money. Right? They have lots of money. This is success. But previously, the karmis were working in such a way so they would be elevated to the heavenly planets. They would perform pious activities, avoid sinful activities. Right? You may perform pious activities. You can try to avoid sinful activities, but that won't get you out of the material world. We'll still be in the cycle of birth, death, old age, and disease. A little bit elevated from that is the impersonalists who think that the absolute truth is light, energy, oneness, Brahman realization. But even that is not fulfilling because they rise to a very high level but don't understand that service to the lotus feet of the Lord is what they're looking for. So they again come down to this material world and engage in social welfare activities, Srila Prabhupada said, like opening hospitals, orphanages, schools for the blind, etc. So the devotees, they have a different definition of success. And their definition of success is to be attached to, attracted by, and surrendered to the lotus feet of the Lord. This is what they considered success, to be able to render service to the Lord without any consideration for something in return. Right? The karmis, they come, they see Krishna in the temple, but they have something to get. Right? My dear Lord, help me pass the test. My dear Lord, help me find a nice something, whatever it is. This is all right, it's pious, but it's not devotional service. It's something else. Right? So this International Society for Krishna Consciousness is formed to train people to become devotees of the Lord, who approach the Lord purely, only for the Lord's pleasure. We see in the life of Srila Prabhupada that his only desire was to please Krishna and please Krishna's spiritual master. One important point in this purport, Prabhupada mentions that one should approach the Tattva Darshana, one who has seen the truth. They can help us see the truth. If our hands are tied, right, we cannot untie ourselves. We have to go to someone whose hands are free. Right? That's the Tattva Darshana. We go to the devotees of the Lord. The devotees of the Lord can help us develop devotion to the Supreme Lord. That's the purpose of this International Society for Krishna Consciousness, is to develop bhakti and to assist others in developing bhakti. Sometimes we get confused. We think that the movement is about big temples and big programs. That is there. But that's only to attract people to the real goal of life. Right? We see that the 6 Goswamis, they were living under trees. Right? Not even the same tree every night. Right? Why they lived under trees? Because it was some form of shelter. In the blazing heat of the summer, if you get under the tree, you'll get some relief from the heat. But also in the winter, when it's very cold, if you get under the tree, you'll experience some warmth. Right? How many persons here have slept out in the woods overnight? You know, just in the woods. Anybody? 1, 2. So you can experience that. You go on prikrama. Sometimes the devotees go on brudge. If you get under a tree in the winter, it's warmer than being not under the tree. Right? And they were, doing madhukari. Sometimes devotees go and try to imitate the Goswamis, go to Vrindavan and do madhukari. It's not an easy thing, right? Living like that. Mostly they come back because they can't do it. Right? Very simply they were living. But we have this International Society for Krishna Consciousness and temples. Why? To attract people to come to the temple so they can be educated in the process of Krishna consciousness. So they can learn what is what. They can actually appreciate who is Lord Ramchandra, right? What the pastimes of Lord Ramchandra actually mean to us, and how we can apply the lessons in our lives. To keep the promise of his father intact, Lord Ramchandra immediately gave up his position of a king and, accompanied by his wife, Mother Sita, wandered from one forest to another on his lotus feet, which were so delicate that they were unable to bear even the touch of Sita's palms. The Lord was also accompanied by Hanuman, king of the monkeys, or by another monkey, Sugriva, and by his own younger brother, Lord Lakshman. Both of them gave him relief from the fatigue of wandering in the forest, having cut off the nose and ears of Suparnika. Thus disfiguring her, the Lord was separated from Mother Sita. He therefore became angry, moving his eyebrows and thus frightening the ocean, who then allowed the Lord to construct a bridge to cross the ocean. Subsequently, the Lord entered the kingdom of Ravan to kill him, like a fire devouring a forest. May that Supreme Lord Ramchandra give us all protection. In the arena of the sacrifice performed by Vishvamrita, Lord Ramchandra, the king of Ayodhya, killed many demons, rakshasas, and uncivilized men who wandered at night in the mode of darkness. May Lord Ramchandra, who killed these demons in the presence of Lakshman, be kind enough to give us protection. O King, the pastimes of Lord Ramchandra were wonderful, like those of a baby elephant. In the assembly where Mother Sita was to choose her husband, in the midst of the heroes of the world, he broke the bow belonging to Lord Shiva. The bow was so heavy that it was carried by 300 men. But Lord Ramchandra bent and strung it and broke it in the middle, just as a baby elephant breaks a stick of sugarcane. Thus the Lord achieved the hand of Mother Sita, who was equally as endowed with transcendental qualities of form, beauty, behavior, age, and nature. Indeed, she was a goddess of fortune, who constantly rests on the chest of the Lord. While turning from Sita's home, after gaining her at the assembly of competitors, Lord Ramchandra met Parshuram. Although Parshuram was very proud, having rid the earth of the royal order 21 times, he was defeated by the Lord, who appeared to be a Kshatriya of the royal order. Carrying out the order of his father, who was bound by a promise to his wife, Lord Ramchandra left behind his kingdom, opulence, friends, well-wishers, residents, and everything else, just as a liberated soul gives up his life and went to the forest with Sita. Purport. Maharaj Dasarath had 3 wives. One of them was Kaikeya, served him very pleasingly, and he therefore wanted to give her a benediction. Kaikeya, however, said that she would ask for the benediction when it was necessary. At the time of the coronation of Prince Ramchandra, Kaikeyi requested her husband to enthrone her son, Bharat, and send Ramchandra to the forest. Maharaj Dasarath, being bound by his promise, ordered Ramchandra to go to the forest, and according to the dictation of his beloved. And the Lord, as an obedient son, accepted the order immediately. He left everything without hesitation, just as a liberated soul or a great yogi gives up his life without material attraction. So this also shows the opulence of renunciation. Lord Ramchandra gave up everything and just went to the forest, put on the skins of trees and went like that to the forest. This is showing the Lord's renunciation. And Sita, although the daughter of a great king, Janak Maharaj, she also decided to go with her husband very faithfully. It shows her chastity and her attachment to Lord Ramchandra, which is a great example for us to follow and learn. While wandering in the forest, where he accepted a life of hardship, carrying his invincible bow and arrows in his hand, Lord Ramchandra deformed Ravan's sister, who was polluted with lusty desires, by cutting off her nose and ears. He also killed her 14,000 Rakshasa friends, headed by Kara, Trishira, and Dushan. O King Parikshit, when Ravan, who had 10 heads on his shoulders, heard about the beautiful and attractive features of Sita, his mind was agitated by lusty desires, and he went to kidnap her. To distract Lord Ramchandra from his ashram, Ravan sent Marichi in the form of a golden deer. And when Lord Ramchandra saw that wonderful deer, he left his residence and followed it, and finally killed it with a sharp arrow, just as Lord Shiva killed Daksha. When Ramchandra entered the forest and Lakshman was also absent, the worst of the Rakshasas, Ravan, kidnapped Sita Devi, the daughter of the king of Videha, just as a tiger seizes unprotected sheep when the shepherd is absent. Then Lord Ramchandra wandered in the forest with his brother Lakshman, as if very much distressed due to separation from his wife. Thus he showed his personal example, the condition of a person attached to women. Purport. In this verse, the words Srisanginam Gatim Itihi indicate that the condition of a person attached to women was shown by the Lord himself. According to moral instructions, Grihe Narim Vivar Jayet, when one goes on tour, one should not bring his wife. Formerly, men used to travel without conveyances, but still, as far as possible, when one leaves home, one should not take his wife with him, especially if one is in such a condition as Lord Ramchandra when banished by the order of his father. Whether in the forest or at home, if one is attached to women, this attachment is always troublesome. as shown by the Supreme Personality of Godhead by his personal example. Of course, this is the material side of Sri Sangi, but the situation of Lord Ramchandra is spiritual, for he does not belong to the material world. Narayana Parovyakthat. Narayan is beyond the material creation, because he's the creator of the material world. He's not subject to the conditions of the material world. The separation of Lord Ramchandra from Sita is spiritually understood as Vipralamba, which is an activity of the Halandini potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, belonging to the Sringar Ras, the mellow of conjugal love in the spiritual world. In the spiritual world, the Supreme Personality of Godhead has all the dealings of love, displaying the symptoms called Sattvika, Sanchari, Vilap, Murcha, and Anmada. Thus, when Lord Ramchandra was separated from Sita, all these spiritual symptoms were manifested. The Lord is neither impersonal nor impotent. Rather, he's Satchit Ananda Vigraha, the eternal form of knowledge and bliss. Thus, he has all the symptoms of spiritual bliss. Feeling separation from one's beloved is also an item of spiritual bliss, as explained by Srila Swarup Damodar Goswami. Radha Krishna Prana Vyaktir Landini Shakti. The blessings of love between Radha and Krishna are displayed as the pleasure potency of the Lord. The Lord is the original source of all pleasure, the reservoir of all pleasure. Lord Ramchandra therefore manifested the truth both spiritually and materially. Materially, those who are attached to women suffer, but spiritually, when there are feelings of separation between the Lord and his pleasure potency, the spiritual bliss of the Lord increases. This is further explained in the Bhagavad-gita. Avajananti mam mudha manosim tanamashritam param bhava majananto mama bhuta maheshvaraham. One who does not know the spiritual potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead thinks of the Lord as an ordinary human being. But the Lord's mind, intelligence, and senses can never be affected by material conditions. The fact is further explained in the Skanda Purana as quoted by Madhva Acharya. Nitya Purna Sukha Gyan Svarup So Yato Vibhu Ato Sya Rama Ityaktya Tasya Dukam Kuton Vapi Tatapi Loka Stikshartam Adhukko Dhukka Vartivat Antarhitam Lokadrishya Sitam Asita Smaram Iva Gyapanartam Bhuna Nitya Sambadha Svaimatmana Sriyaha Ayodhyaya Vinirgatschan Sarva Lokasya Cheshvaraha Pratyaksham Tu Shriya Sardham Jaga Mandir Avyaya Nakshatra Masa Ghanitam Trayodasa Sahasrakam Brahmalokas Samam Chakre Samastam Shiti Mandalam Ramo Ramo Rama Iti Sarveshvam Abhavattada Sarvo Rama Mayo Loko Yada Ramas Tvapalayat. It was actually impossible for Raman to take away Sita. The form of Sita taken by Rava was an illusory representation of Mother Sita, Maya Sita. When Sita was tested in the fire, this Maya Sita was burnt and the real Sita came out of the fire. A further understanding to be derived from this example is that a woman, however powerful she may be in the material world, must be given protection. For as soon as she's unprotected, she will be exploited by Rakshasas like Ravan. Here the words Vaideha Raja Duhitare indicate that before Mother Sita was married to Lord Ramchandra, she was protected by her father, Videha Raja. And when she was married, she was protected by her husband. Therefore, the conclusion is that a woman should always be protected. According to Vedic rule, there's no scope for a woman's being independent. Asam aksham. For a woman cannot protect herself independently. So this absolutely flies in the face of the modern theory. Right? Modern ideas that women can be independent, women can, accumulate money and live on their own. This consciousness is there. It's been cultivated many times. We see today the husband makes some mistake, some unfaithfulness, and then other women will encourage that wife of that unfaithful husband to go ahead, dump him, get a divorce. This is going on. It's been prevalent in the West for 50 years. It's now becoming prevalent in India also. That women are equal to men, and that they can earn money, and so therefore they don't need a man, right? They can live on their own. So this is, Srila Prabhupada is very clearly saying that this is wrong, right? That women need protection. They're protected in young age by their father, in married life by their husband, in old age by their grown-up sons. And so this is a very, Prabhupada is very, what he's saying flies in the face of modernism here. But we accept the words of the Acharya. We accept the words of the Acharya. And we should live our life in that way. Not giving in to this wrong idea that women can live independently, they can be independent. Chanakya Pandit says, for a king to wander around the kingdom is very good. And for a sadhu, a saintly person, to wander around is very good, right? But for a woman to wander around, then she'll be destroyed. So we just have to decide whose words. We want to take the modern theory, or do we want to accept the words of the acharyas? How you want to live your life. And where you want to place your faith. They say that Lord Ramchandra is an ordinary man, and you can have faith that that's true, but it's still a matter of faith. How do you know? Right? Or you can place your faith that Lord Ramchandra is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's God. You can put your faith anywhere. It's your faith, where you want to put it. Just like we have faith that everybody, when we drive, in this country is going to keep to the left. We have faith. So we get behind the wheel with some amount of faith. You know, people will say, oh, you believe in Lord Ramchandra just because you have faith. It's your faith. Yes, but you also have faith. It's not like because I have faith in Lord Ramchandra that he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, you don't have faith in something. You have faith. When you get in the car and drive, you have faith that people are going to keep to the left. Right? Of course, sometimes in India, they don't. They do whatever they like. But generally speaking, we have faith. Right? So it's where we want to put our faith. The scientists say they went to the moon. Can you prove they went to the moon? No. And many people don't believe they ever went to the moon. And Prabhupada tells us, no, they never went to the moon. So we can put our faith in the words of Srila Prabhupada, or you can put your faith in the scientist. Right? Srila Prabhupada's words are backed up by all the acharyas and the shastra and the scripture. It's a matter of where we want to put our faith. If the shastra says, if the pure devotee says women should be protected, then they should be protected. And we shouldn't fall for this false modernization that women, they don't need protection, they can do whatever men do. This is all wrong idea, foolishness. Lord Ramchandra, whose lotus feet are worshipped, even by Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, has assumed the form of a human being. Thus he performed the funeral ceremony of Jatayu, who was killed by Ravan. The Lord then killed the demon named Kabanda. After making friends with the monkey chiefs, killing Bali, and arranging for the deliverance of Mother Sita, he went to the beach of the ocean. Purport. When Ravan kidnapped Sita, he was obstructed by the way by Jatayu, a large bird, but the powerful Ravan defeated Jatayu in the flight and cut his wing off. When Ramchandra was searching after Sita, he found Jatayu almost dead and was informed that Sita had been carried off by Ravan. When Jatayu died, Lord Ramchandra did the duty of a son by performing the funeral ceremony, and then he made friends with the monkeys to deliver Sita Devi. After reaching the beach, Lord Ramchandra fasted for 3 days, waiting the arrival of the ocean personified. When the ocean did not come, Lord exhibited his pastimes of anger, and simply by his glancing over the ocean, all the living entities within it, including the crocodiles and sharks, were agitated by fear. Then the personified ocean fearfully approached Lord Ramchandra, taking all paraphernalia to worship him. Falling at the Lord's lotus feet, the personified ocean spoke as follows. O all-pervading Supreme Person, we are dull-minded and did not understand who you are. But now we understand that you are the Supreme Person, the Master of the entire universe, the unchanging and original personality of Godhead. The demons are infatuated with the mode of goodness, the Prajapatis with the mode of passion, and the Lord of Ghosts with the mode of ignorance. But you are the master of all these qualities. The word Jadadhiya refers to the intelligence like that of an animal. A person with such intelligence cannot understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Without being beaten, an animal cannot understand the purpose of a man. Similarly, those who are dull-minded cannot understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But when punished severely by the modes of material nature, they begin to understand him. A Hindi poet has said, Dukha se sab hari bhaje, sukha se bhaje koi. Sukha se agar hari bhaje, dukha khatan se hoy. When one is distressed, he goes to church or the temple to worship the Lord. But when opulent, he forgets the Lord. Therefore, punishment of the Lord through material nature is necessary in human society, for without it, men forget the supremacy of the Lord due to their dull, blunt intelligence. There's a nice example of this in a book published by the Bhaktivedanta Book Trust, The Scientific Basis of Krishna Consciousness by Swarup Damodar, Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj. I think that time he was just Swarup Damodar Das when he wrote the book. So in there he talks about when the scientists were sending, the astronauts into outer space. They were sending them to outer space. And there was some problem in the space capsule. And it looked like they would not survive, the astronauts. So it came on the TV. Even the Pope came on the TV and said, pray to God. Pray to God for the astronauts in outer space so that they're saved. And anyway, whatever the difficulty was got rectified, and they were saved, and they made it back to, Earth safely. And after that, there was no mention of God. They were only saying, we're scientists. We did it. Right? So when we're in trouble, we go to God. When we're not in trouble, I did it. I'm very qualified, right, by my energy. So this is the nature of conditioned souls. But the devotees of the Lord, they're always ready to give credit to God. They don't take any credit. If something goes wrong, they pray to God. But if something goes right, they still give God the credit. By the mercy of God, it happened. This is the difference between the non-devotees and the devotees. My Lord, you may use water as you like. Indeed, you may cross it and go to the abode of Ravana, who is the great source of disturbance and crying for the three worlds. He's the son of Vishrava, but is condemned like urine. Please go kill him and thus regain your wife, Sita Devi. O great hero, although my water presents no impediments to your going to Lanka, please construct a bridge over it to spread your transcendental fame. Upon seeing this wonderfully uncommon deed of your lordship, all the great heroes and kings in the future will glorify you. It is said that a sun and urine emanate from the same source, the genitals. When a son is a devotee or a great learned person, the seminal discharge for begetting a son is successful. But if the son's unqualified and brings no glory to the family, he's no better than urine. Here, Ravan is compared to urine because he was a cause of disturbances to the three worlds. Thus, the ocean personified wanted him killed by Lord Ramchandra. One feature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Ramchandra, is omnipotence. The Lord can act without regard to material impediments or inconveniences, but to prove that he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and was not merely advertised as Godhead or elected by popular vote, he constructed a wonderful bridge over the ocean. Nowadays, it's become fashionable to create some artificial God who performs no uncommon activities. A little magic will bewilder a foolish person into selecting an artificial God because he does not understand how powerful God is. Lord Ramchandra, however, constructed a bridge over the water with stone by making the stone float. This is proof of God's uncommonly wonderful power. Why should someone be accepted as God without displaying extraordinary potency by doing something never to be done by any common man? We accept Lord Ramchandra as the Supreme Personality of Godhead because he constructed this bridge. And he accepted Lord Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead because he lifted Govardhan Hill when he was only 7 years old. We should not accept any rascal as God, as an incarnation of God, for God displays special features in his various activities. Therefore, the Lord himself says in Bhagavad-gita, chapter 4, text number 9, Janma karma chame divyam evam yo viti tattvataha tattvadeham puna janma naiti mamiti sorjana. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not upon leaving the body take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. The activities of the Lord are not common. They are all transcendently wonderful and not able to be performed by any other living being. The symptoms of the Lord's activities are all mentioned in the Shastras, and after one understands them, one can accept the Lord as he is. What time is it? Sukadeva Goswami said, after constructing a bridge over the ocean by throwing into water the peaks of mountains, whose trees and other vegetation had been shaken by the hands of great monkeys, Lord Ramchandra went to Lanka to release Sita Devi from the clutches of Ravan. When the direction and help of Vibhishana, Ravan's brother, the Lord, along with the monkey soldiers headed by Sugriva, Nila, and Hanuman, entered Ravan's kingdom, Lanka, which had previously been burnt by Hanuman. After entering Lanka, the monkey soldiers, led by chiefs like Sugriva, Nila, and Hanuman, occupied all the sporting houses, granaries, treasuries, palace doorways, city gates, assembly houses, palace frontages, and even the resting houses of the pigeons. When the city's crossroads, platforms, flags, and golden water pots on its domes were all destroyed, the entire city of Lanka appeared like a river disturbed by a herd of elephants. When Ravan, the master of the Rakshasas, saw the disturbances created by the monkey soldiers, he called for Nikumba, Dhumraksha, Durmukha, Surantaka, Narantaka, and other Rakshasas, and also his son Indrajit. Thereafter he called for Prastha, Atikaya, Vikambana, and finally Kumbhakarna. Then he induced all his followers to fight against the enemy. Lord Ramchandra, surrounded by Lakshman and monkey soldiers like Sugriva, Hanuman, Gandhamadha, Nila, Angada, Jambavan, and Panasa, attacked the soldiers of the Rakshasas, who were fully equipped with various invincible weapons like swords, lances, bows, prashashas, rishtishi, shakti arrows, ghardas, and tomaharas. Angada and other commanders of the soldiers of Ramchandra faced the elephants, infantry, horses, chariots of the enemy and hurled against them big trees, mountain peaks, clubs, and arrows. Thus the soldiers of Ramchandra killed Ravan's soldiers, who had lost all good fortune because Ravan had been condemned by the anger of Mother Sita. So we see that the Ravan and his soldiers, they had arrows and different types of weapons. And the monkeys, all they had were rocks and stones. Right? But still they were killing the soldiers of Ravan. Because there's two types of energies. You can do things in two ways. You can do things by material energy, right? Your own prowess, your own strength. And you can do things by spiritual energy, by the prowess and the strength of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When we do an activity, not for our own aggrandizement, but for the pleasure of Krishna, we get a spiritual potency. And we're doing things on our own behalf, then we're dependent on our own strength, powers, karmas, etc. So the monkeys, because they were surrendered to Lord Ramchandra, even though they just had stones and sticks, they were able to kill Ravan's soldiers. Thereafter, when Ravan, the king of the Rakshasas, observed his soldiers had been lost, he was extremely angry. Thus he mounted his airplane, which was decorated with flowers, and proceeded towards Lord Ramchandra, who sat on the effulgent chariot brought by Matali, the chariot driver of Indra. Then Ravan struck Lord Ramchandra with sharp arrows. Lord Ramchandra said to Ravan, "You are the most abominable of the man-eaters. Indeed, you're just like stool. You resemble a dog, for as a dog steals edibles from the kitchen in the absence of the householder, in my absence you kidnapped my wife Sita Devi. Therefore, as Yamaraj punishes men, I shall also punish you. You are most abominable, sinful, and shameless. Today, therefore, I whose attempt never fails, shall punish you." After thus rebuking Ravan, Lord Ramchandra fixed his arrow to his bow aimed at Ravan and released the arrow, which pierced Ravan's heart like a thunderbolt. Upon seeing this, Ravan's followers raised a tumultuous sound, crying, "Alas, alas, what has happened?" what has happened? As Ravan, vomiting blood from his 10 mouths, fell from his airplane just like a pious man falls to the earth from the heavenly planets when the result of his pious activities were exhausted. Thereafter all the women whose husbands had fallen in the battle, headed by Mandodari, the wife of Ravan, came out of Lanka continuously crying. They approached the dead bodies of Ravan and the other Rakshasas, striking their breasts in affliction because their husbands had been killed by the arrows of Lakshman. The women embraced their respective husbands, cried piteously in voices appealing to everyone. O my Lord, O Master, you epitomize trouble for others, and therefore you are called Ravan. But now you have been defeated. We also are defeated, for without you the state of Lanka has been conquered by the enemy. To whom will it go for shelter? O greatly fortunate one, you became under the influence of lusty desires, and therefore you could not understand the influence of Mother Sita. Now because of her curse you have reduced to this state, having been killed by Lord Ramchandra. So Srila Prabhupada talks in the purport about the situation of chaste women, and he describes that whenever the chaste women, the great chaste women of the world are described, Mandodari her name is also mentioned, along with Draupadi and others. The power of chaste women, they have surrendered to their husbands, and therefore they have a kind of supernatural power by that chastity. And therefore, one should always see women, every woman other than mother, as other than your wife, as mother. This is the way a man should view all women. But this, of course, again, is a lost virtue in this Kali Yuga. Then the Bhagavatam goes on to describe how Lord Ramchandra told the Vibhishan to do the last rites for all of the dead and even for Ravan. If one is sinful in life and the last rites are performed properly, then one can get some relief from the punishment of Yamaraj. So Lord Ramchandra was so kind even to the dead demons, including Ravan, that he told Vibhishan to do the last rites, and he also told Vibhishan to take over the kingdom. And then Lord Ramchandra went to the Ashok garden and saw Sita there, who had become very thin from being in that situation. And Sita became overwhelmed with happiness at seeing her beloved husband again. So the relationship, Sita is the goddess of fortune, and all opulence is coming from the goddess of fortune. But today people, they want opulence, they want good fortune, right? Just like Ravan, he wanted to enjoy Sita without Ram. So people are interested in the same. Srila Prabhupada describes how they want to have the kingdom of Ram. They want to have Ram Raja, right? But they don't want to have Ram. So how you'll have Ram Raja without Ram? And they want to have opulences, great wealth, and power. These are all coming from Lakshmi. But such things will not reside for long. One of the names of Lakshmi is that she's Chanchala. She comes for some place for some time and then goes somewhere else. If you want to have real opulences, then you have to recognize who is the Lakshmi Pati, who is the master of Lakshmi, and worship. When the inhabitants of Ayodhya saw Lord Ramchandra returning from the forest, they all became extremely happy. Bharat Maharaj came out from the kingdom of Ayodhya and greeted Lord Ramchandra, offering his obeisances at the lotus feet of Lord Ramchandra. This is how one should act in relationship to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, realizing that our own abilities are very insignificant compared to the Lord's. We should surrender unto the Lord. If we do that, then there will be opulence, prosperity, and longevity for all of humanity. So on this day of Sita's appearance, we can pray to Mother Sita that we are able to surrender and dedicate ourselves to the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, so that we can, at the end of this life, return home back to Godhead and perfect and success, and then becomes the real success of this human form of life. Hare Krishna. So today is also the appearance day of Janavamati. Janavamata is the wife of Lord Ramchandra. One devotee, Suryadas Pandit, he had two daughters, Vishuddha and Janava. So once it came to him in a dream that his two daughters were married to Lord Nityananda. Right? So when he awoke from the dream, he was, very happy. So he contacted one Brahmin who went to Lord Nityananda and made this proposal that Lord Nityananda would marry the two daughters of this Suryadas Pandit. And Lord Nityananda agreed. He said, yes, I will fulfill your desire. So Lord Nityananda, there was a great ceremony that was performed in a place called Ambika Kalna, and it was sponsored by one of the devotees of Lord Nityananda. And the Lord was married, and from Vishuddha he had two issue, Virbhadra and Ganga, one daughter, one son. Janava never had issue. And as time went on, Lord Chaitanya disappeared, Lord Nityananda disappeared, and Janavamata, she became the leader of all the Vaishnavas. She was like, although it wasn't declared openly, she became the Acharya for the Vaishnava. And the first Mayapur festival was held in a place called Keturi Gram. There on Gaur Purnima, many great devotees came, and under the guidance of Janavamata, they worshipped Lord Chaitanya. Narottam Das Thakur was there, Madhu Pandit. So many followers of Lord Chaitanya at the time came and visited that Keturi Gram and celebrated the appearance day of Lord Gauranga. Today also is the disappearance of Madhu Pandit. Right? So Madhu Pandit was a disciple of Gadadhar Pandit and lived in Vrindavan. And he worshipped the deity Radha Gopinath. In Vrindavan you'll find 5,000 temples. Right? But for the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, there's 7 temples that are important and that they visit. Some devotees go every day to the 7 temples of Vrindavan. So the first is Radha Madan Mohan, established by Sanatana Goswami. And the second is Radha Damodar by Srila Jiva Goswami. And Radha Sham Sundar by Shyamananda Prabhu. And then there's Gokulananda, Radha Gokulananda, established by Lokanath Goswami. Then Radha Raman, established by Gopal Bhatta. Radha Govindaji, established by Rupa Goswami. And Radha Gopinath, established by Madhu Pandit. When Srila Jiva Goswami sent the trio of Srinivasacharya and Narottam Das Thakur and Shamananda to Bengal with all the books that the Goswamis had made. Madhu Pandit was there to offer garlands to all of them when they went on that first traveling Sankirtan party with all the books. So Madhu Pandit's temple is there. You can visit it and take darshan of Radha Gopinath. Actually, most of the deities in Vrindavan, during the time of Aurangzeb, they were shifted from Vrindavan because of the persecution of Aurangzeb. And they have, the Mool deities are mostly in Rajasthan, near Jaipur. And there's other deities that have been installed. But that particular deity of Gopinath, it's described that actually from his waist to his shoulders, that's what Krishna actually looks like, that form. So Madhu Pandit is one of the great acharyas in our line, and we can remember him on this day, along with the lotus feet of Janama Mata. Bhaktivinoda Thakur prays like that the lotus feet of Janama Mata, if we focus on them and pray, then we can have the mercy of Lord Gauranga, which is to be able to develop love and understand the pastimes of Radha and Krishna and Vrindavan. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki, Sita Devi ki, Janama Mata ki, Madhu Pandit ki, Nitai Go Premanandi.